Let's go live. All right, here we go, folks. How many people are we going to get today? That's the question. That is the question. How many people are we going to get today? I don't know. Little noon. Let's see what happens. Hmm. All right, we will get started in 4 minutes. 3 minutes. Right. Hmm. 2 more minutes. And then we'll get started in about 2 minutes. 1 minute. We'll wait till noon and get moving. I want to welcome the people who are already here. Going to go through some of the basics of ChatGPT today. Yeah. Get you moving. If you have questions, feel free to send me a chat, ask a question. I'll check the chats occasionally and see what kind of work we can do with helping you as well. And basically, what I'm going to walk through are some of the most basic use cases on how you should be using ChatGPT. Get you better at it, and we'll see where that takes us. All right. So we are just at about noon. I'm going to share my screen so that we're going to be looking at ChatGPT, going with the entire screen here. So we're going to jump around a little bit. First of all, I'm going to start with an email. I think one of the easiest, most basic use cases are email and answering your email. So I received this email and I just took a little snapshot of it, of a person who wants added training with their company, as well as they have an annual partner retreat, and they were wondering if I could be there later this year. Now, what I like to do, one of the most basic use cases for ChatGPT, is to go to ChatGPT and to answer your email in ChatGPT. So you can do something very simple on ChatGPT to get these responses. What I typically like to do is I will copy the email I'll bring it over to ChatGPT. Now, the lazy way to do this is you could say, respond to this email. So you would start there, and then you would just paste in the email. And as you can see, I pasted it in, and it's a little bit sloppy here. There's some extra space, but it doesn't matter. Now, typically, like I said, I'm going to start with this where I'm prompting it, respond to this email. I pasted the email and I press enter. And now ChatGPT is going to respond. Now, here's a problem with the way that I had it respond. First of all, it does a nice job at just responding very quickly. So it's speeding up the process of me answering these email. But the the issue that you run into here is that it doesn't know if I am available on the 23rd and 24th of October. So it's guessing, and it might be guessing on some of the other areas of the email. So typically, the way I like to always respond to these is once again, I'll say, respond to this email or answer this email. And I've already copied the email ahead of time. So I'm going to say respond to this email, and then I'm going to fill in the blanks on what ChatGPT won't know when answering this email. So in this case, they want to know, am I available later in October of this year? And I'm going to say, tell them I am available later this year in October. So that was the only open part of the email that it would need added information. So then after that, I usually do a little dash or something like that, and I press paste, and then I let ChatGPT respond. And once again, very quickly, I get a quick response. Now, let's see. The next thing, of course, I would do is I would certainly read it. Thank you for the update. I appreciate you looping back, and I am glad to hear the beta team program is already in the budget. I'm looking forward to reconnecting once the technology committee has had a chance to meet and move things forward. So far, so good. That's perfect. Regarding the partner retreat, I am available later this year and currently available on October 23rd and 24th. An in-person session could work well, depending on final timing and location. Once you know more about the agenda and venue, we can narrow the topics and confirm what would be the most valuable for the group. Let me know how the technology committee discussion goes and what you learn next week. That's perfect. Now, what's great about ChatGPT when you ask it to write an email, it allows you to make adjustments right inside the email. Uh, the woman that I'm going to be sending this to, her name is Sarah, so I'm just going to plug that in, and she knows who I am, so I don't need my last name. And there we go. Now we have the full email. Now, what I typically can do is right down below here, you see where it says copy. I could just press copy, bring it over to my Gmail account, hit reply, press paste, and boom, I've saved. This saves me hours. And I think that this is probably one of the most just easiest use cases. Everybody should be using ChatGPT for answering email. All right. Let's uh let's see. I just want to make sure that we don't have anybody. All right. I'm going to share again. Okay. Now if we go back to ChatGPT, we are going to show you how you can create images. If you hit the plus symbol, you'll see where it says create image. You can select create image, and now you have access to image making. I find that this is very valuable because you can create any kind of image for any kind of content. Create an image of a dog on the moon. So really your imagination is the only thing holding you back when it comes to image making. Just try the image making out. Now typically that takes a minute or two to create, but you'll see pretty quickly we get an image. And there we go. We got our dog on the moon. Very nice. First dog astronaut on the moon. How about that? Very realistic looking. These images are getting better and better, and they're very easy to use. So I would suggest that you give that a try. Uh, One of the other things is a lot of people struggle with just how do you prompt it? How do you ask it questions? What's the best approach to asking it questions? The first answer, the simple answer, is just ask it anything. Just don't worry about how you're prompting it. But if you want it to prompt better, or if you want to ask better questions, you can turn it around, and you can have the ChatGPT become your prompt engineer. So we could just say something like act as a prompt engineer and help me create better prompts. We press that, and now we're turning the table, and now the ChatGPT is acting like a prompt engineer, and they want to know more on what it is that I'm trying to create. So now it's building this for me. Oh, it's really putting some work into this one. I'm just going to say, help me create a prompt to perform to build. You know what I'm going to say? Help me create a prompt to review a contract. We want this to be a very good prompt so it can review a contract for us. So it's building our prompt. So now it's just building several different versions of the prompt for us. And I'm just going to say, keep it simple. And give me a text version of the prompt. Okay. Act as an experienced business attorney, review the attached contract. So I could just copy this, and if I want to now have it give me a great prompt, here's my great prompt. Act as an experienced business attorney, review the attached contract. explain it in plain English, identify key obligations, payment terms, organize your feedback, do not provide legal advice, end with a short summary of overall risks and list of questions I should ask my attorney before signing. So just like that, now I have a prompt that's going to allow me to review a contract and give me just a better result. So you can turn ChatGPT around and have it help you build better prompts. So now all I'd have to do is upload a contract, let it review my contract, and give me the information that I need. So we're going to go with a new chat here. I guess we're going to have to hit that new chat. All right. Let's see how we're doing. See if we got any questions. No questions yet. Move back over to ChatGPT. Oops. Okay. Now, ChatGPT does a nice job at other tools as well. It has a deep research function, web search. It does act as a search engine. So if you want to have more of a web search, you can put it in search. Whenever you hit any of these tools, they turn blue. That means that they're on. And when you want to turn them off, you could just click it and they turn back off. We have several different tools. Uh, some of them we went through create image. There's a deep research. Now, this is going to do a deeper research on any topic. So if we wanted to select deep research, this turns blue, and that means that it's on. And what we can do here, this is where if we want a white paper level research, or if we're just doing a deeper dive because we have to put a report together of some sort, you can go to deep research. Now, if I do a research report request on, let's see, give me the history of ChatGPT. We'll put that into a deep research. Now, what deep research does is it's going to ask a couple of follow-up questions. This one, would you like a technical history of ChatGPT's development, a business-focused history, or a general overview? I'm going to go with a general overview that covers both. So I'm just going to hit that. And what deep research will do is it's going to take longer. So uh, typically, when you're using ChatGPT, you get a quick response. But with deep research, it's going to take anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. You see we have a time bar here, so you'll see that this time bar begins to fill up over time as the research happens. You can follow along with deep research. You'll see the sources once it does some source as it's scraping the internet. You'll be able to follow along with the sources. And if you select activity, this is going to tell us exactly what it's doing and when it's doing it. So we have, so then you can kind of follow along if you want to. Now, you don't have to. You can just hit new chat whenever you're ready and go back to ChatGPT and get back to work on other topics. If you want to go back to any of the previous chats that you had, on the left-hand side is all your history of all your chats. And if I hit the last chat, that was the deep research. And here we are back to the deep research. So you can always go back to any of your previous chats whenever you want and follow up with a conversation with whatever that conversation was. Or if you want to start with a new topic, you hit a new chat and you begin again. Now, what as you use ChatGPT more often and you have more and more chats, it can get a little bit messy. There's a lot of information there, and this is where the magnifying glass, the search chats could really come in handy because if you are needing to go back to any of your threads, so dog on the moon, if I ever wanted to get back to that, I can just search that and find anything where a dog on the moon discussion occurred, and then it'll allow me to get to back to that thread much more quickly. And as you can see, I've got a couple of different images of dog on the moon. So you can very quickly get to the one that you want, and it's going to become far more handy as you're using ChatGPT and you have more and more chats going on. Now, your library on the left-hand side, as you're creating images, your library is going to have all of the images that you've created. So you could always go back to any of the previous images that you have and select those at any time with the library function. Now, if you uh, now by default, ChatGPT 5.2 is the latest, best version. If you click on that, you'll see that we have auto. There's instant. So that even goes a little bit faster than auto, but you really won't notice much of a difference. There's thinking. This is where it thinks longer. This is where it thinks with more logic. Make sure that it's taking every logical step, one step at a time. And if you do thinking, it's going to take a little bit longer. And then there's the research grade intelligence. So every one you click here, instant, thinking, pro, each one of those takes a little bit longer than the previous one when you're asking questions at ChatGPT. Now, as far as just the average user, just leave it on auto. It doesn't need to be on for the average use. That works great. You don't need to go to Pro or to have deep logic thinking for most of your use. It gets the job done very quickly and easily. All right, let's see what we're doing here. How are we doing? All righty. Any questions from the group? Anybody want to ask any questions? We'll go back to ChatGPT then. Now, if we hit the plus, one of the other things that we have in the tools is we have Canvas. Canvas is a nice tool. This is a writing assistant, and we have agent mode. And what agent mode does is it does a better job at workflow. It allows us to watch it, and it can jump from one website to another as it's getting the information that we need. And as you can see, we got some examples here. Find Raleigh homes under 800,000 from realtor.com, order banana cream pie ingredients via Instacart, create a 4-day vacation itinerary using TripAdvisor. So let's try one of these. Find Riley Homes from Raleigh, North Carolina, priced under 800,000 that feature at least 4 bedrooms and a backyard on realtor.com. For each property, present clear and concise key metrics, organize the report and facilitate easy comparison, large photos, summary tables, infographics. I'm going to click on that. And again, agent mode is similar to deep research where it takes a little bit longer. All right. So now agent mode kicks in. Now, what you're going to find with agent mode that's interesting is that you can watch agent mode actually navigate on the internet and do the research for you where you asked it to do the research. So as you can see, it's on realtor.com right now and researching these homes in Raleigh, North Carolina under $800,000 and beginning to put that table together that we requested. Now it's kind of cool how it's navigating through the internet and how capable it is. Now these tools, they're called really agentic workflow, agentic AI, where it can do more than one task. It could do a series of tasks and it can jump from one website to another to accomplish what it is that you're asking. These these tools are getting better and better. They're not great yet, but this agentic AI is really where the future is. And we eventually will get to a point where these tools will be giving them our credit card information and they will be able to um, really do a full workflow end to end on anything that we need. Now, me, I don't give my agent, my AI agents do not have my credit card information. I don't trust them that much. As smart as these agents can be, they can be pretty darn dumb as well. And so I make sure that I'm involved in any of the key areas. But agent mode here on ChatGPT is very good at performing research for me so that I can save a lot of time on research. And notice what it's doing. This is not me navigating these websites. This is ChatGPT's agent mode actually doing the navigation for us. So while it's doing all this, once again, we can just hit new chat and start with our next topic, or we can check on some of the other requests that we had. Like we could go back to deep research. And as you can see now, it's been through 22 sources of information to learn the history of ChatGPT. And if we're in activity, it's not only telling you where it's going, but it's explaining what it's doing while it's there as it's building this report for us. And if we jump back to agent mode is also reviewing. Now, one thing that I've learned with agent mode, we have deep research, which I told you can take anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. I've seen agent mode go as long as an hour doing the research before it gets that final product for you. So you might be waiting for a while with agent mode, depending on what you're asking it to do. And deep research still going strong. All right, we go to new chat. Now, one of the reasons why I always go with a new chat when we're talking on a different topic is because when you're having a conversation with ChatGPT and you move on to a new topic, you want to have a new chat because it remembers everything inside that chat. But if you jump from one topic to a totally new topic, it might confuse topic one with topic two and give you incorrect information. And we don't want that. So you always want to start with a new chat. Now, one of the things that I like to do to speed up how I use ChatGPT, I'm not fast when it comes to typing. So I like to do one of two things. I like the dictate button. If I select dictate, I can just prompt it with my voice, speed up the process. So if I were to hit the dictate button, give my prompt, give me a recipe for chicken noodle soup. I'm checking the check mark here, and there's my prompt. Give me a recipe for chicken noodle soup. Press enter. And now I've just sped up the process. I got my chicken noodle soup, got my recipe, the ingredients, everything that I need to make that chicken noodle soup later tonight. Now, one of the other things that I like to do is have full on conversations with ChatGPT. So, right next to the dictate button, we have use voice mode. And if you hit use voice mode, you turn on ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT. How you doing today? I am helping with just teaching the basics of ChatGPT and the use of real-time voice. Why don't you give us some reasons why we should be using real-time voice? Excellent. Give us some use cases on how best to use real-time voice. Yeah, that's the truth. Now, everything that I did, if when I'm ready to stop talking, I can just hit end and that turns it off. But as you can see, it's fully transcribed. So now I have a full transcribed conversation with ChatGPT. Very useful. All right, let's go back to the ChatGPT history request here. Seems like that's still going strong and may take a little bit longer than we have today. So we might not get to it. I'll check the real estate report and see how that's doing. This is going strong as well. One of the things that you can do, which is kind of cool, is that this has a time bar where you can see everything that Agent Mode did throughout the whole process, every click it made, and every website it looked at from start to finish as it's building that report that we requested, which is pretty cool. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing, see how we're doing here. All right, so we're gonna end it here. That's the end for today. Can you show me how to use ChatGPT to write email faster? Oh my goodness. We just went through that at the beginning. The you may want to Fuji, you may want to watch the beginning of this video and check that out. But basically, what we did is I made a copy of the email and I brought it over to ChatGPT. And I put answer this email, and then I filled in all of the information that ChatGPT wouldn't know when answering the email. Like for instance, if you have an email where they have a date in there, and ChatGPT won't know if you're available for that date, you can inform ChatGPT that you are available, and then paste the email and have ChatGPT answer the email for you, and it's done just like that. So you could really speed up the process of answering the email that way. And then once you're done, copy and paste back and reply in your email using ChatGPT. That's very simple to do. So that is all I have for today. I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Everybody take care.